Look, it's too early to say what the interim government's going to look like, and I'm guessing that the army, who are the key sponsors of the interim government, probably don't know themselves yet. The army are really walking a quite a precarious line between the various other political stakeholders, the Nationalist Party, the various Islamist parties, the students, etc. And so they'll be negotiating with all those stakeholders and trying to find a way forward that's reasonably acceptable to everyone.
Meanwhile, what experience does the army have in running the country? Can you give us a little bit of historical background?
Yeah, well, if you go back through Bangladesh's history since independence in 1971, the army has ruled actually for quite a large portion of it. They ruled directly between 1975 and 1990. There were various military-backed civilian governments, the last being up till about 2008. But I think that experience in being in charge has actually taught the army as an institution a bit of a lesson that it's better not to try to rule the country directly. And so I think their preference would be to really try and put it back into civilian hands as soon as reasonably possible.
What can you tell us about the army chief and the military's ultimate goal in all of this? Like you say, to put the power back into the people's hands. So promises to hold an early election, a return to civilian rule can be believed?
I think probably. I mean, you can never tell when someone takes power exactly when they'll give it up. But I think the army chief was really put into this position unwillingly. He didn't intend any of this to happen. But it was the army that really precipitated Sheikh Hasina's departure when they declared that they would no longer use deadly force to stop the protesters. That really meant that the protesters would continue what they were doing and ultimately try and take over Hasina's private residence, for example, which precipitated her departure.
And can you tell us what are some of the immediate priorities for this interim government? Returning the streets back to normal, schools open, offices open, presumably that's a top priority.
Yes, well, look, I understand that really most government functions have been really not working for some days or weeks now. The internet has been switched off for lengthy periods, and the streets have really been resembling war zones. I think on Monday alone, around 140 people at least were killed. So the Army's immediate priority is going to be to restore order, restore basic government services, and really reduce the political temperature so that they can move forward with an interim government that then can, I suppose, rebuild the Bangladeshi political system.
And when elections come around, how much of the Awami League, which was the ruling party under Sheikh Hasina, how much will be intact, or will it be a completely kind of revamped in terms of, you know, the candidates they put forward and their policies?
Yeah, look, that's a really interesting question. I mean, the Awami League was strongly associated with the Bangladesh's liberation and foundation back in 1971. And so there's a very long history there. But really, over the last few years, and particularly over the last few days, when Sheikh Hasina sent Awami Party activists out onto the streets to beat up and even murder protesters, that has really dealt a very severe blow to the Awami League's reputation. I think that there's a good chance that we'll see the Awami League splintering, and at least younger or more modernist people, or at least people that are not too closely associated with Hasina, trying to continue in Bangladesh politics.
Well, interestingly, Bangladesh's president has ordered the release of jailed former Prime Minister and key opposition leader Khaleda Zia. What chances does the Bangladesh Nationalist Party have in galvanising voters?
Well, look, certainly Sheikh Hasina did her very best to destroy the BNP as an organisation, and it was very, very personal, because she blamed many people associated with the BNP for the murder of her father. And she was quite successful in destroying the BNP. I think the release of Zia by the military was really an act of goodwill to BNP supporters. But Zia herself is terminally ill, and so it's difficult to imagine her playing any direct role in politics.
Dr. David Brewster, thanks for sharing your views with us. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.